Shalom, shalom, Akim. I'm the brother Malawan from GMS Suriname, coming back with another quick lesson. But before I start with this lesson, I want to give all praises and honors to Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai Bashim, Rahman Shalamat. I give double honors to the elders and apostles, calling those so many that are worthy of their double honors. And much love and salutations unto the brothers out there that are teaching us with truth and sincerity. Shalom, shalom, shalom. So today's lesson is going to go about the story of Abednego, Misha, and Syra. This is the story about Shadrach, Misha, and Abednego, man. It's a really inspirational story, really uplifting story, especially for these times, man. Especially for these times. Because as we know, we're going into the time of the mark of the beast, and we will be tested. We will be tested as they were tested in their time, man. We will be tested to the limits, you know. But as the scriptures are, as they are written for on our understanding, so that we may know how our forefathers dealt with situations like this, you know. But we're going to go into the story, pull up another precept upon it. But I'm also true for the Suriname language and my people hear me, understand me. So shalom, shalom, brother, sami na brother malawan, fujema Suriname. And like from taking on it as a lesson for today, o go about a story, is a bit of Sadra, Misa, ng Abednego, is a bit of o go about a story for the man that like from mo bigili so de like fan de mana kwa britsa kopsa nga de mandi is a bit de mako tapak correspond in the libi fume quando você sento sabe ka costa de malibi isabito di mapeka dede isabito if they bebe ka forget bas lese isabito of them man po dede kom ta kenso maar like fo sabi amore hiwang nooit no lip en bribiwa in the steek maakt niet uit tegen sumayego winsego tegen gewoon regular people isabito winsego tegen amoro powerful man fu agronta po winsego tegen gewoon kono ane maakt uit amore hiwang op protect you if you na wan true bribiwa isabito mo na story direct isabito ade ina buku fu sa Daniel chapter 3 mabiging na aim ay mamuli sa ina NLT kumluko. Ya muli sa na NLT moro makalagi people for understand. Isabit adi siya nga si des muli si ina NLT na arefter ka. This is the book of Daniel chapter 3 verse 1 in the NLT. King Nebuchadnezzar made a gold statue 90 feet tall and 9 feet wide and set it up on the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Dus akono isabito kay King Nebuchadnezzar bede akono fu Babylon. Isabito like fatire di Donald Trump na akono fu a modern Babylon. Well Nebuchadnezzar bede akono ina fosten Babylon. Isabito na same model isabito. Mambe me kwa gold pop chiwa gold star was gouden standbeeld. Isabito 9 foot lang, 9 foot breed. Isabito, mulis Gomorrah. Then he sent messages to the high officials, governors, advisors, treasurers, judges, magistrates, and all the provincial officials to come to the dedicator of the statue he had set up, so that all these officials came and stood before the statue King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. This ala di ba lang mang ang mga senkari isabito ko kana fisa stambil isabito molis Gomorrah. Then a herald shouted out, people of all races and nations and languages, listen to the king's command. And there's no isabito a speaker fu ako kong isabito fata luko na ubigi arki sa ako etaki alas ma ubigi arki isabito when you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, harp, pipes, and other musical instruments, bow to the ground to worship King Nebuchadnezzar's gold statue. Dus this bede a commanderi fu ako no fata. Tiyo bigi ere walo sweet poke play. Isabito plotseling. Na direct imboy gi ere ga gold pokchi. Isabito. This bede a commanderi fu ako no. Isabi, like for sabi, volgens de scripture, uno like one people, uno like the Biblia, uno mag boy ku ede gi no one trans constant pop no one next. So ze ki hou bashi mi awa shai we boy gi, une boy gi no one tra hot things, no one tra gado gi next une boy gi sabi to. So ki hou bashi mi awa shai. Ewang de worthy fu a honor dat die on dat ena ine gedroet gado. Isabi to, please come on fara. Anyone who refuses to obey we will immediately be thrown into a blazing furnace. Dus kono bawas wawa good popchi, wa gouden standbeeld. Akono tegi sa opsa, te imiere de sani, te yere de poko e play plotseling sa Indo. And if you're not doing, direct in my moki going on fire off direct make bro libi libi. That be the a judgment if you know be arka kono. In a kingdom for akono tati. Isabito, makulis ko mo fara luko sa ipsa. So that the sound of the musical instruments, all the people, whatever their race or nation or language, bowed to the ground and worshipped the gold statue that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. There's no da poko bigi play. Da alas mamoy. No da apo ko bigi play alas mamoy direct. One no as mano amro libi libi. One na letter like the my moki go in hell. Letter like ye bro libi libi ye shifa isking e pir pur ye bro libi libi. No as mano wana sana teres. Ala de people bigi boy gi direct. Makulukusap sa Morofara. Verse 8. But some of the astrologers went to the king and informed on the Jews. Dus nono de. Want to Jews bedamin diri sabi to. Want to nengere of want to ingi magnet uit. Maar want to for uno people bedamin diri. And want to inform her gona kuno koteki sa the Jews bedu. Makuluko sa the Jews bedu. Verse 9. They said to King Nebuchadnezzar, long live the king. You issued a decree requiring all the people to bow down and worship the gold statue when they hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, harp, pipes, and other musical instruments. That decree also states that those who refuse to obey must be thrown into a blazing furnace. There's no need informer gonna kuno ba ibetak so. And if the people no be arke, you betak so. Isabi to, verse 12. But there are some Jews want to mande Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, whom you have put in charge of the province of Babylon. They pay no attention to you, your majesty. They refuse to serve your gods and do not worship the gold statue you have set up. Yes, it is no the informer, godala de Jews. De koshipan ng the Jews na boy gite na mayere ni poku. Isabi to, the people food, the man be boy gite diri mandat. Isabi to, Misa ang Abednego na nga sadra, the mandat no me boy gite diri mandat. Hujak de man bile turu bilibiwan ni mam le man be sab de komanderi. Fuya o pas ni ochai. And the man no be boy gi. Mano ni informal ko follows tak de mais si sabi to. De mais me pe aking no attention yo. De mais ni regorda king sref. Nene din negado fu aking isabi to. De mango dala turna dana ko fadak itak so. And if was mano arki na so musanga ne mane manis de arki. Makulo ko sapsanga de. Then Nebuchadnezzar flew into a rage. Ako unurak and ordered that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be bound before him when they were brought in. Dus direct kama sentek ala demanda ti taide let fesamang isabito. Nebuchadnezzar said to them, is this true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you refuse to serve my gods or to worship the gold statue I have set up? Isabito. Dus no ako uno aksema vadak asan is true boy. Tak inuwa boy gigi agong pop chicken and inuwa din negadov me. Asan is true. Verse 15, I will give you one more chance to bow down and worship the statue I have made where you hear when you hear the sound of musical instruments. But if you refuse, you will be thrown immediately into the blazing furnace. And then what God will be able to rescue you from my power? This na bigitaki. This na bigitaki. Sa ginema ite wakas matag lukon na te poko biki pleto. Yukis ite wakas fi boy gigagot pop chief me. And if you know one boy ginadira ko mo ki na fire off. And soon ka do opur you for a powerful me. This na bigitaki. In afisi fu ya Hashem Yahushai. For you could take you and bring me also wasani. Go look us up. Verse 16. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied, there's no, the demon that pick a no. O Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you. Nasabi kita kibigin ba? Di man na afraid ako no sirip-siripi. O na di man sa power sa kramta ni magbaka to. Di man afraid na ako no fagro tapo dyan. O Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God whom we serve is able to save us. And na so ang bibiwa etaki. Ina mo se gegar, ina mo se arsal, ina mo se frede, imantak frey. Wantak isa rin kanam sa, if you want mog me, wina ang funay mog me. Mami eblik wantak agalo sa mi edinto. O deliver me pour uit afaya sa imong me ini. Isabito. So ang bibiwa mustaki. Isabito. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God whom we serve is able to save us. He will rescue us from your power, your majesty. So imtaki, isabito, ino mo se freden, iiwi sumaning magnet uit. Di naman ko nga chepa system na so uno mo se tu. Uise so dati ko nga 20 gong ino mo se freden pa na iyo las you libi. Ya awo pa shimya siya o protect you and all look for you. That you must focus. Ina mo look fa si fa de man ko na itapo. Of sumasen de man ko fa that boy amasa sen de man is ko boy. Boy amas a power boy bos amais ka do asan na ngami. Ino freda sana srefi. Isabito. Verse 18. But even if he doesn't, we want to make it clear to you, your majesty, that we will never serve your gods or worship the gold statue you have set up. So you must denki le kwambribiwa. Who is in dede, tayo dede. Manoit imboy gigiwan tragado. Isabito. Uno na a people, vuya hawa bahashim yahoshai. If I'm so fantastic, so that they must kill you for the you know and take a chip that they carry down. Man, you know it no mistaken. Nang same mindset for the man is to. Uno mus wakati the day. Isabito. Nang same mindset is umwaka. So, verse 19, okay. Is no na misa Abednego na nga sadra. Ga kuno bigita kinu. Sora kuno fa nag demane frede. Demane frede judgment for ako. Demane frede pa ya ofu. Isabito. Makulo ko sa kuno do. Verse 19. Nebuchadnezzar was so furious with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Mabiurak so danig that his face became distorted with rage. Amaher face bigi kenki. So dana kama ko urak tab de drimandi si fanta ka bigita ki sa de drimandi gimi. Mile kwa kono. Asat no kayongo. He commanded that the furnace be heated 7 times hotter than usual. There's no ako so de roko mafit ang lukun ako futo. Misakta kami fire ba? Marme kasan fire si fa malmoro. One de bandis wear me ede. Isabito te bong de guina direct them to asi. Isabito. Verse 20. Then he ordered some of the strongest men of his army, Bigiskimang, to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and throw them into the blazing furnace. No hasn't take the Bigiskimang ko fu tie them on this bongoy na ofu. Isabito. So they tied them up and threw them in the furnace, fully dressed in pants, turbans, robes, and other garments. Verse 22. And because the king in his anger had demanded such a hot fire in the furnace, the flames killed the soldiers as they threw the 3 men in the fire. May fire so danig that the dribigis kima sa bog sa derang misak na Abednego goy na ofo. A fire take the man at libi direct. A fire be fire so danig that bron the man that dede direct. Naim sa big ba. Dahil sabing ba, makulo ko sa apsa na nga dedribiwang. Kulo ko sa apsa nga dedrimanda. Verse 23. So, the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego securely tied, the mga boom, fell into the roaring flames. But suddenly, Nebuchadnezzar jumped up in amazement and exclaimed to his advisors, didn't we tie up 3 men and throw them into the furnace? There's no ako jump plus patak. Ano diri ba ko betay ba ko ina off? And I know them, they don't come off and pick them off attack. Yes, your majesty, we certainly did. They replied, Isabito. Look, Nebuchadnezzar shouted, I see 4 men unbound walking around in the fire unharmed. And the fourth looks like a god. Yes, she do. Yes, she said, sir, they put Allah you baby in Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Yes, she said, sir, Isabito. There's no one going to for that if for man didn't say. And the man so better, the man you walk afraid, no one thing that the man skip, the man you walk afraid. The man bro next step sang the man. And I fear the man case one gado. And if you go in a breakdown, for ya how shy sreve bedrape. Isabito ya how shy sreve bedrape. Nanga dema. En sreve sakakong. Ko protect the baby wafi. En sreve sakakong. Isabito. Verse 26. Then Nebuchadnezzar came as close as he could to the door of the flaming furnace and shouted, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego stepped out of the fire. Then the high officers, officials, governors, and advisors crowded around them and saw that the fire had not touched them. Not a hair on their heads was singed, and their clothing was not scorched. They didn't even smell like smoke. Yes, ito. Or siya siya protect them mahila mal. Afaya no white of them sirif-sirifi. Next no sanga them na di trama no bitina faya sirif-sirifi. Bong them bong de go and afaya bro them kiri. Man them isi them bong them te ina mini di bere fa fire. Matok next no sanga them. Verse 28. Then Nebuchadnezzar said, Praise to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He sent his angel to rescue his servants who trusted in him. They defied the king's command and were willing to die rather to serve or worship any god except their own. Yes, this akono sref takasanis matak ala glory ki agado for the manis boy ala glory ki ya our bash and our shy when the manis bedera di tete kite kato and akado for the send one angel sakakong sabito send one of the more powerful angel sakakong for protect them isabito look of them at the next stop sang on the bank isabito verse 29. Therefore, I make this decree. If any people whatsoever their race or nation or language speak a word against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they will be torn limb from limb, and their houses will be torn into heaps of rubble. There is no other God who can rescue like this. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to even higher positions in the province of Babylon. Sa story this e thank you. A story this is sorry for that. You like one baby want to if you know a sincere believer in Yahweh Bash in Yahweh Shaito. We suma will come up against you to this man have no one chance for the next nanga you. If Amoro he want no allowing. The man no want do next nanga you. If I come for Babylon self no man want do the man is one son. That's someone of the was enemy V. And a modern kung for Babylon na Donald Trump. And attract one of the more popular title for Amanda to na the most powerful man on earth. And if a most powerful man on earth naman do next nang ganito binibiwang, da saya be afraid. Sayo ang be afraid if Amanda self naman do next na ngayon. Ama sa emigranation fear. Da saya afraid. Yes ito. Mawagwing mawawala sa scripture. To clarify lamar. Kung look at Fadina disi. Look where no ano dia. We want last one. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus chapter 2 verse 10. Book of Ecclesiasticus chapter 2 verse 10. Is na kung overduidelijk king. En als story zo belis daarnet, Nou, een mooi voorbeeld voor als scripture. Dit is het boek of Ecclesiastes chapter 2 verse 10. Look at the generations of old. Look hoe de voorouders vielen, de brief voorouders vielen, want ze hebben brief orship. And see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? As scriptures is sorry lalapan that you every in amoro hiwang o deliver you. And of ko Frede amoro hiwa o deliver you. Isabito. So asante and so asanota. If you ain't want to be one for your bashing your shy or come through. Isabito. And we is another one that na you lot for dead and this say get award to well done did it. Like fa sa grang mi siyang nang abendi ko baby ready dede isabito. So for the no forsake de gado. En toch jouw bashing jou zijn. Come through gidema isabito. Maar may pala sa list five uno may bagi uno more understanding may abaw uno geloof op. Na dati mga alabaris na ganin na amoy yung sayo ka gado. Aware ka na po gado. Aware ka lang ka na po gado atro na po na yahawa. And aware ka lang ka na po boy atro na po boy na yahawa siya. When it gets all places understood. Yahawa ba siya yahawa siya. Siya nakakura siya naman. When it comes to honors to the elders and apostles of Green Stone, but an already of the honors and much love and salutations unto the brothers out there. There are teachings worth into sincerity. Shalom, shalom.